KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson, gold sponsor of the 2018 Micro Games in Yap. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dedido. Always open, always local.
Ahead on primetime, 2 people are dead after a serious midday crash in Sinahanya. Police now investigating what went wrong. Plus, an official complaint is filed following the gun incident involving the lieutenant governor. The LT now saying he's sorry for how it all went down. And workers at a local trash company make a rather unusual find. More than 5 pounds of the drug, cocaine. Today and good evening. We begin with some heartbreaking news. The Guam Police Department's Highway Patrol Division is investigating a deadly crash in Sinahanya. One of the men involved was driving a GTA van. He has been identified as 52-year-old Joe Bloss. The second victim has been identified as 78-year-old Edward Minor Eclavea of Sinahanya. It was a head-on collision. Both drivers involved now dead.
Okay, so around 11:37 this morning, officers and first responders responded to a serious crash here on Route 4 Sinahanya by Chowit.
Lunch hour traffic came to a screeching halt. Guam Police Department spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau at the scene.
Based on preliminary investigation, it's a 2-auto crash with one vehicle traveling northbound and the other vehicle traveling southbound.
One driver was operating a GTA van heading south. The other operating a silver Hyundai Santa Fe in the inner northbound lane when the two collided. Both men were unconscious and unresponsive. CPR was conducted as they were rushed to Naval Hospital. Roads were closed off for hours following the crash as GPD Highway Patrol officers launched their investigation.
As for now, for the determination of the crash, we've yet to determine that. Being that this is the preliminary state of the investigation.
An autopsy for the pair is scheduled for Thursday. GTA tells KUAM they are deeply saddened by the untimely passing of their colleague Joe Bloss. Bloss was a member of the GTA family for 30 years and worked in the engineering department. Our sincere condolences to both families who lost a loved one following today's tragedy. It wasn't the kind of fireworks anyone was expecting at the Guam barbecue block party on Saturday night. Matter of fact, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio is still feeling the heat. That's because a complaint has officially been filed with the Guam Police Department, now prompting an investigation by the Office of the Attorney General. Today, the Lieutenant Governor granted one-on-one interviews with Island Media and tells our Sabrina Salas-Metanani he doesn't believe a crime was even committed.
Our 20-minute interview with Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio could be summarized in less than 20 seconds. He's really sorry.
First off, I want to apologize. First of all, again, I apologize. Again, I apologize. Again, I apologize for my actions. I apologize to the officer directly. I admit it was an error, and I apologize. I again apologize. I apologize for my actions. Again, I apologize. I apologize to the officer. And I'll say again, I do apologize. I apologize for it. So again, I apologize. I apologize for what I did. I apologize to him. I apologize to the officer.
So what happened at the Guam barbecue Glock party? The Lieutenant Governor, a former police officer and GPD instructor, says he had about 2 to 3 beers, was on his way out when he saw a police officer whose pistol appeared to be unsecured in his holster. But KUAM sources say Tenorio didn't just go up to the officer once, but several times.
I was not harassing. I was concerned for his public safety and the safety of the other persons who were there. I did what I thought was necessary because it looked to be an unsafe firearm.
Former chiefs of police have criticized the lieutenant governor for his actions, saying that he acted recklessly and endangered the public because the firearm could have discharged.
I should have probably pulled him to the side and said, hey, what's going on with the firearm in the holster? It doesn't look right.
On Tuesday, the Guam Police Department confirmed an incident occurred and that it was gathering incident reports, but because no criminal complaint was filed, GPD was moving forward. That changed hours later after a complaint was filed last night by Troy Torres at the Dedido precinct. Tourists allege the lieutenant governor was drunk, approached Sergeant Carl Cruz from behind, grabbed his gun, and pointed the muzzle at the officer. The two were wrangling over the gun. Sergeant Cruz managed to get it back, but the lieutenant governor allegedly started badgering him. KUAM obtained this surveillance video just moments before the lieutenant governor got into his white SUV to leave.
I was concerned about why it came out of the holster, and the reason that I saw it looked like it might be unsafe. And so I was, in fact, trying to see with the officer whether there was something at fault. Is it the holster? Is it the firearm? Is there something else I missed? And I understand. I didn't mean to embarrass him. I apologize to him and to the police officers who were there. I didn't mean to cause any problems, and I take full responsibility for what happened.
After Torres filed his complaint just after 1:30 this morning, GPD issued a press release stating it had forwarded its preliminary findings and the complaint to the AG's office for further investigation. The complaint alleges public intoxication, reckless conduct, disorderly conduct, and official misconduct. The AG's office later acknowledged receipt, stating it will be thoroughly and independently investigated by the criminal division. As for the lieutenant governor, he'll wait and see what happens, but he's sorry and believes his actions were, quote, well-intended.
I don't believe a crime was committed. I did this for the right reason, to protect public safety and the officer. I didn't do it to take possession of the firearm. And so, again, I apologize to the officer and to the Guam Police Department and law enforcement in general, the governor, the chief of police, and the people of Guam.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas, Matsunani.
You can watch the Lieutenant Governor's interview in its entirety on our Facebook page. Governor D. Calvo expressed his disappointment with the actions of Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, saying it's now time for the incident to run its course through the proper channels.
It's something you don't approve of. I can't see, a reason for why something like that happened. But hey, as far as I'm concerned, I think the Lieutenant Governor has been very candid to the people of Guam. I think our police department now needs to do its job, and I think it's done it. And now it's been handed over to the Attorney General's office, and I think the Attorney General's office now has to do their jobs as well.
Calvo adds the incident is a distraction for more pressing matters on Gov Guam's table, namely the fiscal crisis. The incident isn't sitting well with the leader of a local gun group. Chris Barnett continues our coverage.
The president of a local gun owners group telling KUAM News Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio was not handling firearms in a safe manner when he grabbed SWAT officer Sergeant Carl Cruz's duty weapon Saturday night at the barbecue block party in Tumon. Ken Gibbons, president of the Guam Gun Owners Association, disagreed with several things the lieutenant governor did at the event.
What the lieutenant governor did was dangerous for everybody around.
Tenorio revealed today he does not have a valid firearms ID, and Gibbons taking issue with Tenorio's handling of a loaded weapon after drinking beer.
When alcohol is involved, you definitely don't want to be handling firearms, regardless of how much training you think you have or you actually do have. Firearms and alcohol never mix.
Tenorio said he grabbed the gun because he was concerned it wasn't holstered properly. He offered profuse apologies today to KUAM News, but continued to try and explain his actions, which he said were justified as the head of public safety on Guam.
Reaching for the sidearm of an officer is dangerous. And then had that officer reacted appropriately, somebody could have been injured. Whether the firearm was secured or not, that's not how you present in the Lieutenant Governor's eyes a teachable moment.
The Guam Gun Owners Association promotes safe and responsible use of firearms and the protection of Second Amendment rights, Gibbons said. And if Tenorio had an issue with the way Sergeant Cruz was holstering his weapon, he could have addressed it differently.
He should have just pulled the officer aside and informed them, look, man, your firearm's not secured. Secure it. Pay attention to what you're doing.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
GPD's Mandania Drug Task Force responded to the Mr. Rubbish Man facility in Harmon after a suspicious package was discovered by its employees. Turns out it was more than 5 pounds of cocaine. Keani Mendiola has more.
There was a stash found in the trash. A package containing over 5 pounds of cocaine was discovered by employees at the Guahan Waste Control, better known as Mr. Rubbishman, transfer plant in Harmon. GWC Chairman Phil Flores says the discovery was made on Tuesday after a truck had returned from its route and released the contents onto the station's tipping floor.
The truck will actually tip all of its trash onto the floor. And we go through that to make sure there are no items that are banned from going to the landfill. Wood, construction debris, tires, that type of stuff. As we were going through it, we found white powder substance, but looked very suspicious.
On Tuesday afternoon, GPD activated its Mandania Drug Task Force, where officers conducted a drug field test on the package. The items tested positive for cocaine.
Every once in a while, we find something that's a little bit out of the usual. Radioactive material, which was normally something having to do with medical waste. But this one is the first time we have found drugs coming in.
About 95% of waste that goes to the Lezon landfill in Arahan is first processed through the Mr. Rubbishman facility, and its officials believe that it's likely that the drugs had been picked up in one of the trash bins emptied earlier that day.
The trucks will go by no matter which company it is or whether it's the government's truck, and they'll pick up trash and they put it into their packer. The packer is what we call, because it goes into the back of the truck and it's pushed, it's packed, and so it must have been somebody's garbage.
At this time, Guahan Waste Control does not suspect any of its employees. Currently, GPD's Mandania Drug Task Force is investigating the source of the drugs. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Kiani Mendiola.
Now to the latest with a story out of DYA that we broke on primetime last night. New charges have been filed against the 2 DYA escapees who were caught on Tuesday. The pair on the run for nearly 5 days have been charged with escape, beyond control, and violation of a court order. As we reported, the clients jumped out of a window at the facility's cottage home last Friday. Community assistance led to their capture in Jigo Tuesday afternoon. Both minors are back in custody and have been placed on room restriction status. Get those questions ready. Another round of D18 Tonight is coming up at the bottom of the hour. Tonight we will sit down with Democratic candidate William Parkinson, plus Republican candidates Senator Will Castro and Jeffrey Wheaton. It's completely interactive, meaning you control the conversation. Just join KUAM News Facebook live stream and put your questions in the comment section so we can ask them to your candidates. D18 Tonight is coming up right after primetime. Stick around for more news here on Primetime.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy. To the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
On my last day at the court, I was presented this jar of Post-its. During the presentation, they said, Josh, we asked every single employee to write down a word that best describes you. They must really believe it's an important thing that they need to share with me. So it's quite humbling when you see, what people think of you. Professional, leadership, visionary, articulate, dedicated, admirable, caring. It meant to me that people that worked for me were very happy with my leadership. They were very thankful for my leadership, and they were impacted by my leadership. I want to serve as a lieutenant governor because the skill sets, my experiences, and my energy. And this is an opportunity for me to help push a vision. That's the reason why I'm willing to take a risk and run for office.
Chuck E. Cheese's Guam just got a whole lot funner. Chuck E. Cheese and Helen are excited to welcome friends Pasquale and Jasper to Guam. Join us on Friday, July 13th at 6 p.m. for a great welcome party. Food and token specials all night long. Be part of the party at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
Another clergy sexual abuse lawsuit is filed this week. 65-year-old JVC alleges he was molested by Father Antonio Cruz as a teen boy. Cruz, who passed away over 30 years ago, was a priest at Our Lady of Peace and Safe Journey Catholic Church in Chalampago at the time. Only identified by his initials to protect his privacy, JVC alleges Cruz asked him to bring him a coconut. When he returned, the priest was allegedly naked and masturbating and performed sexual acts on the teen boy. JVC is represented by attorney David Lujan. He is suing for $5 million. The governor says he will veto the sales tax repeal bill, and is hopeful senators will change their minds to avert a fiscal crisis. But the measure passed by an overwhelming 11-4 margin, more than enough for an override if the vote holds steady. Nestor Lacanto reports.
The governor is still pushing for the sales tax, which was supposed to go into effect October 1st to provide some permanent funding for the hospital and education department.
We're hopeful we can continue to move in the direction and continue with the current law that's in place.
But that may be wishful thinking given the veto-proof 11-vote margin. Calvo says there's no need to repeal the sales tax because he has the finances under control from the GRT hike and tax amnesty proceeds and $30 million in cost cutting.
You know, right now things are stable on this island. It will be them that drive this bus over the cliff if they override my vetoes.
He warns of an up to $160 million shortfall if the sales tax isn't replaced with some other revenue enhancements. Speaker Benjamin Cruz has set a hearing for Monday on 2 such bills.
I will support any legislation that will, number one, provide stability to our hospital and to our education system. Number two, ensure that critical public services are provided to the people of Guam on health, safety, and in education.
What he won't support is using tax amnesty proceeds for emergency funding for GMH to address deficiencies that threaten accreditation and Medicaid and Medicare funding.
And they're doing some piecemeal type of solutions, but that all they are piecemeal. And once that amnesty money is spent, what happens for next year? The hospital's still going to have a $30 million annual shortfall.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lacanto.
The Port Authority has signed off on its first ever bond offering of more than $71 million. The money will be used for various infrastructure projects, the renovation of the Hotel Wharf, and construction of a new port administration building. Speaking at the bond signing ceremony, Governor D18 Calvo says the facility improvements are important for Guam's economic growth and the ongoing military buildup.
By 2020. 2019 will be a big ramp-up period, and between 2020 and 2023, we anticipate close to $900 million in construction projects just for the military. That means that all that stuff's going to come through, most of it's going to come through here. And that does not count the organic growth that is occurring on our island as a result of a very stable economy.
Officials say the bond drew strong interest from investors as it was 11 times oversubscribed. Gita says the bond not only notched one of the highest combined ratings ever, it also enjoys the lowest interest rate among current bond issues. Rain or shine, and despite protests earlier this year from village mayors' stern message that without gambling they won't sponsor the carnival, the Liberation Festival is a go. Carmen Terlahi joins us from Hagåtña. Carmen?
Half a day the crowds are gathering here at Chamorro Village for the weekly night market, but today they get a special bonus because it is the first day of the Liberation Festival. Earlier today we spoke with one vendor. Here's more. Enticing signs make Marisol Malume's setup for Sip and Dip hard to miss.
Sip and Dip, we sell fruit juices. We have the mangonada, which is mangonada juice, which is one of our hit last Micronesian fair. We are going to offer here again. We have the fish ball, squid ball, lobster's ball, all name it. Calamari, which is one of our popular. So
Sip and Dip is just one of nearly 30 vendors participating. This year's festival is spearheaded by the governor's office, the committee headed by GIAA Executive Director and GVB. This comes after Mayor said they won't host the event if games of chance were not allowed. In past years, games of chance like color games and Betu Betu were a major source of revenue at the carnival. This time last year, all gambling was banned. And mayors say it was the worst carnival in Guam's history, with little turnout and lost revenue. Vendors are hopeful that this year is more successful.
We are very positive that, it's different this year. So, yes, we are very, very hoping that they will come over.
The fun doesn't stop here. Festival goers can also cross the street to the Guam Museum, which will be open late until 7 p.m. Again, the Liberation Festival is happening nightly until July 22nd, and though it might be closed on Liberation Day itself, you can expect the parade to go off with a bang. It's a fireworks show you won't want to miss. Back to you.
Thanks, Carmen. Sports is next, but first your island weather.
Make every day a plus.
Summer is here, and at Cars Plus and Mighty, that means big savings during our summer clearance event. Right now, save up to $8,000 on select 2018 Ram 1500 SLT Crew Cab, or save $3,250 on a 2018 Chrysler Pacifica. Voted Family Car of the Year. 1.99 APR financing is available for qualified buyers. Plus, buy today and receive a Cars Plus value card, where you get 21 cents off per gallon at all Shell stations. Don't miss our summer clearance event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Where will your sip take you?
You're gonna need more than an oil change. Okay.
Try our new slushies at McDonald's. Tropic Twist, Blue Raspberry, and Cherry Limeade. Perfect for summer for a limited time.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We start the show off tonight with some mixed martial arts news as Roque Martinez prepares for his upcoming fight in Nagoya, Japan. Check it out. Roque Martinez is currently the undisputed deep megaton champion after he defeated Jaydeep Singh back in July of 2017. Roque is currently the #1 ranked heavyweight in Southeast Asia and Japan. He is also the #2 in South Korea. Martinez will be stepping into the ring to fight Kiyoshi Karabata in Rizin 12, August 12th in Nagoya, Japan.
I'm really excited for this fight. It feels like it's been a while since my last one, so
And then, like you said, he's my height. I haven't fought anybody my height in a long time, and man, I'm gonna get my punches off on him. But just because we're, the same range, so definitely excited for this one.
Martinez is Guam's only active heavyweight fighter and has been undefeated since 2011. With a 12-4-2 record, riding a 7-fight win streak, he puts in the work necessary in making sure he's prepared for every fight, with a strong emphasis on strength and conditioning. He's a heavyweight who can go the distance and still push the pace late in the fight.
If anything, that's the one thing I can control in a fight is whether or not I get tired. So I take that to heart, and my conditioning right now is just, I say it every time, but it's definitely better than ever. I can push a pace, and I feel like I don't get tired. That's definitely my strong point going into this one.
Martinez mixes it up in training camp, sparring with big bodies and smaller, lighter training partners to work on his speed. He says it helps with the gas tank, and he's fortunate to have everything he needs on island to prep for his upcoming fight.
That's a huge thing for me. Is I'm really comfortable around my family. After an exhausting day of training and work, there's nothing like going home to your family, and it's where I want to be. It's happy. If I'm off island on a training camp, I just, in my head, I'm like, oh, I miss my family and this and that. But when I'm here, I'm comfortable. This is the life I live. I love it, and I'm blessed, man. I love it.
Roki's last fight was a submission win over French fighter and K1 legend Jerome LeBanner. This time around, Martinez fights a local fan favorite who's coming off a first-round knockout win last month. Karabata is nicknamed the Samurai Mark Hunt. Both fighters have promised some fireworks fight night.
Man, this fight, I'm just looking to put on the performance of my life. I have to put on the best show, man. I'm looking for a knockout, that's for sure. Whatever it takes, I got to finish this guy, and I have to do it impressively. Can't be a decision. It can't be a close fight. I have to completely dominate this guy, and I'll finish him.
The scholarships continue to roll out for the UOG athletics program. JFK graduate Ariana Morellano is signed to a UOG athletic letter of intent and partial tuition scholarship to play for the Lady Tritons women's soccer team. Morellano was the team's captain in the spring season of 2018. She was named to the All-Island team as honorable mention as a midfielder and defender. She also has experience playing with the Guam national women's team at the U14 and U19 level. Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
We're celebrating our 135th anniversary today, both in the outlying regions on which we hub and also here in Guam itself. It means so much to our team here in Guam. It means a lot to us in the Matson management team, because what it says is we're here to stay. It's a real physical manifestation of our commitment to this region. It's so important that we hire locally, we develop talent locally, we train locally. What's been a wonderful addition to our approach there is that many of the people who started off in Guam have gone off into significant leadership roles elsewhere in the company.